for about 2 to 3 seconds. If you don't see it shift, just know that it is coming. There is a little bit of a lag time on the screen. So again, welcome. My name is Rob Schaumer, and we've connected in the past couple of months, and part of the reason that you're here today is because I love helping people grow their businesses. I find that I enjoy growing other people's businesses sometimes more than I'm growing my own businesses. I've been growing businesses for over 25 years, and about 3 years ago I just finished up with my last business. I built an online website, and I started getting into consulting, and then I jumped into coaching. I studied at Adler International and really found my place and passion there. And as I've been growing my business, I've had the opportunity to connect with other coaches and share ideas with other coaches and help other coaches take their business to the next level. And I didn't see other programs around how to coach, how to be a better coach as a coach, how to help your client grow, ideas, insights, the coaching process, but not a lot on how coaches can build their website. And what I've started to do is over the years I've built a connection with many people who are in the business world and in the internet world, and I said, hey, can you share your wisdom with the coaching audience and help them really to break out and really set up solid businesses to grow their coaching practices. So today we have Max Kalles, who is a top-notch web designer and internet marketer. And a little bit about him, Max has spent the last 8 years creating online marketing strategies designed to get results. He has mastered the craft in showing small businesses how to get the most out of their online strategy by giving them practical tips that can be applied in their businesses right away. He has spoken at marketing conferences in Toronto, Niagara Falls, Las Vegas, Florida, and London, England, and he's helped thousands of small businesses improve their results online. And we're looking forward to having Max help us coaches improve our presence online to create stronger marketing presence, a stronger call to action presence, and really to help us connect with clients who can so much benefit from the gift of coaching and taking their lives and their businesses to the next level. So with no further ado, I bring to you Max Kalles.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate that glowing introduction. So we're going to get started, and the goal of this seminar or webinar for you, we always want to start the presentation with outlining what our objectives are or what we hope you will get out of it. So our goal today is to give you practical, applicable techniques that you can put into practice right away in your business on your website that will help you get better results. And we hope that this information is going to be very valuable. We apologize up front that I'm going to, over the next hour, provide you with a lot of information on these 6 topics. We're not going to be able to go into as much depth on each topic as maybe we would like, but it's really to give you a real overview with practical tips of ways that you can make improvements on your website. Also, as a note, if you have questions, you can ask them as you have them, and we may be able to answer them right away, or we might wait to the end of the presentation. We will also be sending out the slide notes, so you feel free to write down your notes if you'd like, but some of the slides will be sent to you with the bullet point notes so that you will be able to review as well. We're also going to try tomorrow to send out the recording of this webinar so that you have it to review as well. So getting started, I always get asked by businesses and business owners, what do you think is going to be the next big thing on the internet? Everyone wants to know, what is this new up-and-coming thing that is going to take the world by storm, kind of like Facebook did several years ago, and become so popular that everybody's using it and every business needs to be involved with it? And my answer to them is always, don't focus on what the next big thing is, because nobody has a crystal ball. Nobody actually knows. And even though I've been involved in the internet for more than a decade, I can't predict what's going to be popular with enough success rate that I'd be happy. But I do know that whatever is working today, most businesses are not using effectively. And if you are always focused on the next big thing and you don't worry about what you're currently doing, then you're not maximizing your results. And we're going to show you why. The graph is just loading, but we use this graphic to explain why it's important that you don't focus on the next big thing, but you focus really on the first area that you should focus on online is your website. Your websites actually become the most important marketing material that you have. And the reason is because marketing has become integrated. And what we mean by that is on the right-hand side here, you'll see these are all offline techniques that people can use to market their business. And on the left side, these are all online techniques people can use to market their business. But what typically happens is whatever marketing tool or medium you use, you'll find that people typically these days will visit your website before they contact you. So even if it's they meet you at a trade show and they get a card, or they see you in the yellow pages, or a salesperson talks to them, or a friend gives them a referral, the first thing customers like to do or prospects like to do is visit your site so that they can learn more about your business before they call and make sure that's a good fit. And what that means is your site is now creating the first real impression that they're going to have with your business. And the question we have to ask ourselves is, does our site give the right impression to our target audience, our ideal customers, or is the site not performing the way it should? Because if your site is not converting well, then all your other advertising is going to suffer. And if you improve your website and increase conversions on your site, you'll find that every other marketing medium that you engage in is going to become more effective, because as they visit the site, they're more likely to convert. And so because of this, we are going to focus this presentation on how to improve your website, because we believe it's the first thing that every business should look at. Now, these are just two of the coaches that have submitted their sites to be reviewed. We're just showing them as an example. And the example is this. When we put two websites side by side, when you look at a website, right away you get an impression on it. There's actually been studies done by universities that were trying to analyze the impression people got at a website. And they found that in under 1 second, people form an impression about a website. Typically, under 1 second, the only impression they can get is based on the design of the site. And they categorize sites into positive, neutral, or negative. And what they found was people that had a positive impression, that first impression, had a higher conversion rate than people with neutral, and people with a negative impression, most likely the prospect or site visitor didn't stay on the site very long. So what you have to remember is not all sites are created equal. So if you just want to type into the question, gives you the better impression, the one on the left or the one on the right. So people can just do that. And you can see that sometimes the answers may vary. Some people might say the one on the left is better. Some people might say the one on the right is more appealing. But there's an impression created. And the purpose of this, it looks like the majority of the people responding are saying that the right one looks more professional to them. Some people are saying the left one looks more personal and less corporate. But whichever impression you have, that is more likely the company you're going to want to work with. So what you have to think about is your customers or your ideal prospects are looking at your site, but they're also looking at your competitors. And you have to try and look at that and see, is the impression they're getting about my business, is it a positive impression that they're getting when compared to my competitors, or is it a negative impression? And then the goal is that based on your current traffic numbers, what would happen if you could get a 10% increase in conversions to your business? So some of you may not be getting any conversions from your website. You're not getting any leads or generating any business, and others might be generating a lot. Our goal here is to give you the practical tips that will slowly start to increase your conversions so that you can generate more business from the internet. So to do that, we're going to discuss 6 topics, and we're going to go through each one in as much detail as we have time for and give you a good overview of them. But just to go over them as a whole, the first one is having a distinct design. The second one is making sure the site is clean and simple. The third one is understanding your customers. The fourth is having informative content. The fifth is building trust and credibility. And the sixth is persuading action. And we're going to go through each one of these and explain what we mean by them so that you can have practical tips on how to improve your site. At the end of each section, we're actually going to give you a little bit of homework so that you can analyze your site yourself and gauge it based on these 6 areas of a website. So the first topic is distinct designs. We like to show Apple as the model for distinct designs because everything that Apple has done, it just oozes with good, clean design. Their website is renowned for being clean, easy to use, and a very nice, modern design. Every product, every marketing technique they use, every channel they use for marketing is very clean messages. But even their products and the packaging is very clean and easy to use and simple. And not only is it simple, it's like elegant. And people, even though they cover their iPhones or iPads or iPods with all these accessories, just the design of the phone itself is attractive. And people desire the phone because of its attractiveness. And that's the power of design. Design has the ability to create an emotional experience within a customer. And if you can create these emotional experiences, when people are moved emotionally, they typically take action. They desire that product or service. And so the goal in business is to emotionally get people attracted in your business, but also intellectually attracted in your business. But if you don't get them emotionally involved, then they may not be interested in working with you as a company. And design is the best way to do that. So we're going to look at a couple of websites that have designs that we just want to highlight. So the first one that's just going to load in a couple seconds. Okay, now it's loaded, is a painting website. So as you can see, the painting industry, it's not so exciting. It's hard to show pictures of walls that have been painted. They don't look so good in a picture. And the design of the site, it's different, it's colorful, it's unique, and it stands out. If you look at other local painting sites, it stands out as being different, and their value proposition is very clear and obvious. Now we're just going to load another one. This is a car dealership website. They're selling to a very specific high-end target market. That's their demographic. You can see the product stands out as being beautiful and clean. The site, there's not a lot of messages going on the homepage. It's very easy to see what's going on, to read the messaging, and to get to the places on the site that you want to go. Here's another example of a site. This is a landscaping company. It's just going to load in a second or two. There we go. It's good. So this site also, very clean design. A banner that the pictures are very vibrant and bright. And then even the 4 sections of places they want people to visit are very clean. And the spacing is nice so that it doesn't overwhelm the eyes. It's easy to look at, and when you look at this, the first impression you get is that this is a professional landscaping company. This is another one that's going to be loaded. This is a cabana and pergola website. It's just going to load in a couple seconds. And you'll also see the same pattern. Is the design is visually nice. There's nice shadows here that you'll notice at the bottom, and the designer has laid everything out to attract the eye where the eye should go, and to get clients to be impressed with the company just based on the visual looks of what they see on the website. And of course, we're going to look at this one is another one that's just going to load. It's a catering company. Now, a lot of these industries are selling more on emotion than on intellect. Now, in catering, you want people to know that you have high quality, good tasting food. And I apologize, I don't know what time it is in the part of the world that you're at right now, but usually when people look at this, they really want to eat a burger. And that's the goal of the site, is when you come to it, we want you to see the types of food that this company makes, because when you see the food and you realize the quality, you really want to work with this company. And here's another one that's going to be loaded shortly. It's an art gallery in Yorkville, which is a very high-end shopping area, and they're selling a high-end product of artwork from musicians and in the film and fashion and history industries. And the site stands out as being very clean. The design has a lot of images because they're trying to sell the images in the gallery, and it's a very visual experience. Here's another one that's going to load, which is a windows and doors company. And so you can see that even in a service-based business, it's important that the design stands out. So it makes the company look professional, but that person in the middle, this person right here, gives you the impression that they care about you and that they're focused on customer service and that they're listening, they're smiling, they're friendly, and they want to work with you. And that impression can increase conversions by creating that emotional experience that this company is professional and provides a quality service. Even in an industry that isn't typically known for its visuals, like the trucking or transportation industry, you can also have a very powerful design. So this is a company that they ship project moves, so a company moving construction products across cities or countries, and they need to move this heavy equipment. And so this site focuses on these transportation solutions. The marketing message is very clear. The picture is visually capturing. It wows the customer, and even just the skyline impresses people that the look of the site is very attractive, and people will stay on the site and read the marketing messages because of the visuals. So now to break down what you need to focus on with your designs. Design matters, and what I can tell you is of all the 6 topics that we're going to discuss today, design is the hardest one for you to implement yourself unless you have design skills. This is the one where you may need a professional designer or professional help to get the look of the site that you need. But what we found is that if you redesign your site, we've done this with lots of clients, that just changing the design and nothing else, the same marketing message, the same pricing, the same traffic coming to the site, just change the design and their results can grow significantly. And so design does matter. So the homework that you should think about, the first thing is looking at the design of your website. You can either pull it up now or you can pull it up later and just look at your site and just think to yourself, does this visually look professional? Do I think that it represents my brand and who I am? Does it make me attracted to the information or to the company? The second question is, where would I visually rank when compared to my 5 biggest competitors? So you should do a Google search, or if you already know who your competitors are, take a look at their websites and put them side by side, or print them off and look at them side by side and try and see which site gives you visually the strongest impression, which one looks the most professional. Because people assume that the quality of your service is similar to the quality of your marketing. And even though there's no relationship between them, you just hired a good marketing company or you're good at marketing, they're going to make that assumption. And if you can improve the look of your marketing, they will assume that the quality of your service is much better. And we all want to make sure that we promote ourselves as a good quality service.
Just a couple of questions came in here. Maybe you can address. One question I was asked is that one of the coaches noticed that there's not a lot of sites that showed there weren't links for Facebook as a social connection. Is that significant there?
That's a great question. Some of those screenshots that we're using are not up to date. Some of them are even older than social media. We're just using them as samples. Some of those sites, I believe, have upgraded to social media. Some of the companies are engaging in social media, and some are not even engaging in social media. And we're actually later on in the presentation going to quickly discuss social media as a whole and whether you should promote it or not. For coaches specifically, social media is usually a big part of what you do, so then it is important to make your social media more prominent. In the trucking and transportation industry, social media is not important to them, so they don't have it front and center.
And then another question.
That came in from Jennifer. She was asking about
importance
of law of numbers
for aesthetics. There's an idea you're working with design is the idea that it's sometimes better to have odd numbers because it's more aesthetically pleasing, like the link boxes that you have going to offers and whatnot. Is there a strategy there?
Yes, you should pay attention to numbers. I guess odd numbers do look more aesthetically pleasing, and that's why a lot of our sites usually either have 3 buttons or 3 boxes or 5 boxes. But you also have to fit it into your business. If you have 4 different services, you should have 4 boxes and not create a 5th or not try and shrink it to 3. But you should just look at the site as a whole and make sure that overall, or have a designer look at it and say, has this been designed to be aesthetically pleasing? Are the buttons and the shapes and the size of everything, is it laid out properly? And we'll get into it a little more in the next section, but is it spaced out properly so it doesn't overwhelm the eye and look really cluttered? Just finishing off with the 2 homework questions. Look at the images on your site and ask yourself, do the images, if you have images, because if you don't, then maybe you should have more images on your site, but do the images create emotion? Do they emotionally get my customer or prospect excited, or what feelings do they create in the visual? They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, so what 1,000 words are you saying by the pictures that you're showing? And are you showing the right images to create the emotion that you want to create? And then also with those images, do they represent your brand, and do they help explain what it is that you do? So does the image actually visually tell people what it is you do, or does it mislead people to think that you're providing a different service? So those are the things that you should think about. The next topic that we're going to get into, topic number 2, is keeping the site clean and simple. Now, clean and simple is connected to design. It's important that not only does the design look good, but it should be clean, which is why we've made it a separate topic. And also being clean and simple goes beyond design. It's also with the amount of content that you have, which we're going to get into a little later, how you space things out, making sure your navigation is easy to use and understand. Now we show this diagram up front as an example. So this diagram, some people might think it's like the London subway line. It's actually a wiring diagram. So an engineer would look at this and they'd be able to understand what it means. Now I'm not an engineer. I didn't do so well in sciences. I was always interested in business and marketing. When I look at this document, this image, my eyes don't know where to focus. And I start looking at the middle because the middle attracts my attention because of the various colors. But then I don't know where to look. I don't know, should I start at the top left corner and go down? Should I go from left to right? Should I go from right to left? Because I don't understand it, I have no idea what I should focus on, and so my eyes just kind of blur over and I don't know what I'm looking at. And most of you looking at this might have the same experience. And the reason we bring this up is because you have to think, is my website creating that same experience or not? Does my website visually make people their eyes glaze over, or does it allow them to find the right marketing messages? So now we're going to show you a couple of websites, a good one and a bad one, to show you this point. So here's a hearing center website. It's an old screenshot, so their site could have changed now. But this is a site that had a lot of content. The homepage, a lot of text, about this website, text, and then on the left side there's a lot of links. Now, typically when someone looks at this website, they don't know what to focus on because there's too much going on, and so their eyes glaze over and they're not able to focus. Now we're going to compare this to another hearing website. So this is a site that's just going to load right now. So you can see that the pictures of the people, which are actually the owners of the company, it's visually attractive. It brings you into the site. The colors are bright and vibrant. There's 6 different things that you can do on the site other than the main navigation, and that's ask a specialist, take a self-test, discover new products, book a free hearing test, get a hearing aid quote, or printable coupons. And because there's 3 and 3, very easy to digest the information, find what you're looking for, and and then click through, and the conversion rate on this site has gone up significantly since that new design. We're going to look at another example of a different industry. So this is a brake manufacturer. So you can see the site, same thing as the first hearing site. The navigation is a little blurry, not so easy to see. There's a lot of text on the website, and there's no visuals of the product, and you don't know what you should do. When people typically see this much content, the average person spends under 20 seconds on a home page. You cannot read this in 20 seconds. So most people aren't reading this. They just look at it, and then they try and click through to somewhere else. So we're going to compare that to another brake manufacturing website. So it's going to load in a second or two, but as you can see, it's much cleaner. The marketing message is simple. New technology to reduce brake noise, reduce heat, reduce noise, reduce vibration, quick, quiet, and cool. Very simple to digest marketing message. You can see the product. The product stands out as being beautiful. It's easy and clear to see the product. And then they have buttons, how it works, installing, and buy now. So like I believe it was Jennifer asked, there's those 3 buttons, so it's visually appealing to see that information. So we're going to give you a template of where you should put your most important information. So now, while I'm going to show you where people's eyes typically look, what we're going to explain is using motion or pictures or video, you can get people to look at different places in your site. But they've done a lot of eye tracking studies, and what they found is people start here. This is the first place people look at, is this red section. So every site that loads, most people look at this red section as the first thing. This is the best place to put your logo or a slogan of what it is that you do. And the reason it's the best place to put that is because people want to know that they've come to the right site. Then the typical eye goes down to the middle section of the website. This is the most important real estate of your website because the majority of people typically visit your homepage, and this is the most viewed area. So it's really important that in this area you have your strongest marketing messages. So you should have the services you provide, or you should explain what it is you do. You should maybe have specials here if you have them. But most importantly, you should have your unique selling proposition. What makes you different from your competitors? And we're going to get into that a little later in the webinar. Then people's eyes come down and hook to the left, and they'll look at this section. If there's navigation here or a newsletter or specials, then they'll look over here. Then their eyes go up to the right, which is a great place to put your phone number or a conversion. If you have a client login, it's a good place, or a shopping cart for e-commerce. It's out of the way, but it's still visible. This black area is the least viewed area of your website or a web page. So this is where your least important information should be. If all of your conversions are only down here, then it's highly possible that people will not see it. So once again, they come up from the top, go to the middle, hook around, and then go up, and then maybe down. So that's typically how people scroll a website and look for information, more specifically on the home page than any other page. So here's your homework for keeping it clean and simple. The first thing you should ask yourself is, have I minimized the messages on my homepage to what is essential? So when someone looks at the homepage, within 3 to 5 seconds, can they understand what it is I do? And do they get my main marketing messages right away, either in bullet points or one clear statement? How do I get that information as fast as possible to the right audience so they know that they're on the right site and they don't leave? People will leave a site within 3 to 5 seconds if they don't find what they're looking for. Then you ask yourself, have I created the necessary spacing to keep the site clean? So does the site look too cluttered? And you probably know that a lot of people like the Google website because all it is a search bar, where Yahoo and Bing, which is Microsoft, their sites are very cluttered. And there's a lot of navigation, there's a lot of text, and people don't like it because it's too much information. It's information overload. So the same thing happens to your site and your customers. So is the information spaced out and attractive so that you can read the right messages and you don't get overwhelmed with too much information at once? And then do I have large paragraphs of text above the fold? So the fold is what a person sees before they have to scroll down. Typically, people do not read on home pages, and if there's a lot of content on the home page or a lot of text on the home page, big paragraphs, they're not going to read through it, and you're just starting to lose their attention span. And it's important that you have more visuals and short messages above the fold to attract their attention, and then try to get them to convince reading further.
So I just want to
echo one thing that you said here, Max, is that
it's important to realize the lack of attention that people have today. It's amazing. You have 3 to 5 seconds to engage a client, engage your audience when they're landing on your site. So it's one of the things that you can do is with your site now, you could actually, if you have some friends that come over, it's business, a client comes over, you're engaged with somebody, it's great today with your smartphone, have them look at the site and ask them, the second they look at the site, where do you go to, where do you see the path to see if they're lagging after 10 seconds, they haven't figured out where to go. It's a warning sign to you. It's a warning sign that your message is not clear, your direction is not clear, your call to action is not clear. And I just posted that in the question, so you can answer that for your own site. Where do you think you stand with a client being engaged within that 3 to 5 seconds?
Yeah, that's a great point, Rob. We actually had a client of ours who had a new business concept. He was selling training online for last-minute deals similar to sell-off vacations. And when he designed his homepage, the initial feedback he got when he came to us was people didn't understand what he did. And so when we created different designs, he actually printed them off and went downtown on the streets and just stopped strangers that he thought were similar to his demographic of what he was looking for, and just said, "Can I just borrow your attention for a minute?" And he showed them the screenshot of his site. He said, "Can you just tell me what it is that this site does?" And he would test and see how long it took them to say, and one, did they say the right answer, or did they think that the company was about something else? And it's really important that your customers understand what it is you do and your value proposition. And that actually leads us into the next section, which is section 3, which is understanding your customers. Now we show this cute little cartoon that the professor, I guess, or whoever this is they're marketing A, but they're thinking B, and everyone else is thinking C. And this is very common in marketing, that people don't understand who you are, what it is you do, or who your ideal client is. Sometimes you don't even know your own ideal client, and that's where the problem really stems from. But once you've determined who your customer is, it's really important that you market to them. But there's a challenge with marketing to customers in today's world. And what the challenge is that your customers are all different. So you have Joe, typical customer, you have Lucy just looking, you have Paul, the prospect, and you actually have dozens, if not hundreds, of different personality types and people that are visiting your site that they have different challenges. So any one of the people visiting your site could be a potential customer. But the challenge is they want different things, they have different problems and needs, they are all at different points in the buying cycle, and they will make the buying decision a different way, which means that the way they analyze whether you're the right person to work with, they may use different techniques or different pieces of information to judge that. Some people might just look at your testimonials. Others want to know, do you have a process? Others just care about the price. So everyone coming to your site has different needs. Now it's important that you market to them differently. So you have all of your prospects will typically end up on your homepage. Now if you have landing pages that you're marketing, then they'll land on specific pages, which they'll actually jump down here, which is even better. But for most businesses, the prospects will come from the internet or from offline. They'll end up on your homepage. And you don't know who they are and you don't know what they're interested in. And your goal of your homepage, after you give them a clear marketing message, is to funnel them into sub-pages that address their needs. So this example is based on 3 problems a customer can have. So a typical coaching website might work with 3 types of businesses that have problems. So one of them might be having cash flow problems. One might be having operational problems. And one might be having sales and marketing problems. And if you address all 3 of those issues, so each customer or prospect will go into the section of the site that deals with the need that they have. And that is the ideal way to market to people. It's really like one-on-one marketing. The beauty of a website is it's a choose-your-own-adventure. Your visitors will get to choose wherever they go, and it's up to them what they click on. Your goal is to try and design the proper paths that they can easily find the information they're looking for, and that the experience of getting that information and making the decision is very easy to use. So we're going to show you some websites that are using this type of marketing strategy. A lot of them have that 3 messaging, but they're not all necessary to have 3. So this is a facilitator's website. So this person, Scott, is actually a facilitator. This is a video. This is just a screenshot. He walks out. He talks to the prospect, and he highlights, are you thinking of planning change in your organization? Are you thinking of implementing change? Or are you trying to manage existing change that's going on? And he gets his prospects to click into the type of service or the type of change issue that they're dealing with in their corporation, and then he provides them with specific information on how to deal with it. The next website is a coaching site that specializes with working with women. So you come to the site, it's very clean, helping women regroup, renew, and reinvent themselves before, during, and after divorce. And then she has 4 different buckets: unfulfilled marriage, separation, divorce, and people after they've gone divorce that are still looking for support and help. So you can see that on that site there's 4 instead of 3. Maybe you could say that it's not as visually appealing. It depends on how many services that you have. Here's another example. They provide 3 services: personal hospital support, holistic home care, and comprehensive parent care, and they're directing their clients into each one. This next site is actually great for, as an example for coaches. Most coaches, the biggest challenge they have is they try to market to everybody. You know, I could coach anybody, any business, or I could coach any individual as a life coach. But the reality is there's certain people that are conducive to coaching, or you look at your ideal customers and you realize that there are certain similarities. And you shouldn't be coaching for everybody. You should have specific groups. So this site is a financial planner, but he specializes in helping doctors. And so the message on the site is very clean. He actually has a video as well. And then he has, I can work for general practitioners, I can work for medical specialists, and I can work for even new doctors. Now the reality is the service is actually very similar for all 3, but there's some slight differences, but really the difference is the needs of the customer. We want the customer, you know, if they're a general practitioner, to feel like he understands who they are. If it's a new doctor, that doctor explains the challenges a new doctor might go through and how he can help. And so because it focuses in on the specific needs of each customer, your customers are more likely to convert. Here's another example that's just going to load, and it's specializing. It's a consulting firm that works with government agencies. And so they have 4 buckets here, and it's based on the type of work that the agency is looking for. We're going to actually show you an example of a site getting it wrong, where the marketing message didn't actually match up with their target market, and then show you how that was changed and fixed. So this is a company that sells this Level Logic, this multi-leveling tool. So you can see a picture of the tool here. His target market, he has 2 target markets. One is contractors, and the other is individuals. So any individual, any homeowner that you know does any renovation or fixes could use this tool. The problem is his main market is male, as the contractors are typically male, and his packaging was black and green. But the website, for some reason, is pink. Now there's a disconnect between his packaging and the website, but there's also a disconnect with contractors are not really attracted to pink colors. They like more rugged colors. Also, here he's highlighting that he's made in Canada, but he doesn't say made in Canada. He just shows a Canadian flag and the city of Toronto. So you don't know that it was made in Canada if you don't, unless you read the content, but it looks like he only sells in Canada. That's the impression that it gives. There's a lot of content on this homepage when people aren't willing to read, and his product is in black and white and doesn't actually stand out as being different. So now we're going to look at the new sites. Just letting it load. So the new site, you can see that it's now black and green. It fits with his packaging. It also fits with the contractor's market. We still have this made in Canada, but it says made in Canada. It's a lot less obtrusive. The picture doesn't bring you in because we don't want you to focus on that. We want you to focus on the product. We still have the accurate, safe, and durable, a short message, and then for contractors and for homeowners. And then the features of the product, which was all those paragraphs he had written, we summarize into bullet points here. So now it's more visually appealing, it's cleaner, the message is much stronger because the design is improved, it's cleaner, and now the marketing message is actually able to come out, and he's actually marketing to the right customers now. So now we're just going to explain that there are many different ways that you can profile your customers. So this is just 7 sample ways you can do it, but there's probably even more than this. But this covers most of the ways you'd like to do it. So the first one is you could do it based on the problem they're having. So I know my problem. As looking for a life coach, what's my problem? It could be I have a problem with time management, or my life is out of balance, or I have family issues. So they know their problem. The second is they know the solution that they want. Right? So they say, I need one-on-one coaching, or I need a workshop, or I need a facilitator. So then it's focused really on the solution because they already know what they're looking for. You can also do it based on products or services, which is similar to the solution, but it's more based on if you actually sell a product or a specific service that people would be interested in. Geographically, it's typically done for larger companies where they need to divide up people based on where they are in the world. Demographically is great for coaches because you could do it based on gender, you could do it based on age, you can do it based on anything that they use to demographically identify themselves. You could also do it on who they are or how they see themselves, which is very interesting. So a coach could have a button that says, you know, looking to break through and make a drastic change in your life? Or are you struggling with a specific issue? So this is how they identify with themselves. And if you're able to explain how they identify with themselves and speak to them with the same language that they're speaking to themselves, you're going to build the relationship much stronger. They're actually going to think like you know who they are and you know their problem. And they're going to work with a person that they feel knows that information as opposed to someone who doesn't. And then the final one is where they are in the buying cycle. So you could have a page on your site for people that have never used a coach before. You know, it's new to coaching, or people who are not necessarily interested in using a coach. They just want some free information so they can download a white paper or download or sign up for your newsletter because they're really early in the buying cycle. They're not ready to sign up. And then you have people that are really interested and they want to book a consultation. So you can identify with who they are based on that in the buying cycle. So your homework for this section is actually probably the homework will take you the longest. But the first thing you have to do is list the different types of customers that you have. Go through your customer base. Try and think of who are your customers and try and categorize them into specific groups based on any of those 7 strategies we gave you of ways to segment them. And then you want to look at your website and say, does my website identify these customers? Are the largest 3 to 5 groups identifiable on my site? Do they find a place that they can click on, or do they feel like the site is specifically made for them? And then is there a sales path that they can each go down that addresses those needs? So is there a place for them to click to get more information about that specific issue or topic? And does that information go through a pathway that gets them at the end to an actual sale? That could be done in 1 page. It could take 5 pages. It depends on the topic and the service or solution that you're selling. And I just want to, this statement at the end is, you know, if you don't segment your customers and instead you try to appeal to everyone, you will attract no one. And that is the danger in marketing, is when you think that you're selling to everyone, most people aren't attracted to that marketing. They want something that's perfect and customizable for them. And in today's world, everything is customizable, and people want a custom user experience. To go back to that financial planner for doctors, if a doctor was looking online and they found 3 different websites, and 2 of them are financial planners, and 1 of them is a financial planner specifically for doctors, which one are they likely to use? He's going to feel, or she's going to feel, more comfortable working with the one that's specifically used to working with people in their industry. Related to understanding your customers is having a proper marketing strategy, and a lot of websites actually don't have a strong marketing strategy. So we're going to use this famous quote by Jack Welch, who was the former CEO of GE. If you don't have a competitive advantage, then you shouldn't compete. So what you need to figure out is, what is it about your business that makes you different than all the other coaches or all the other competitors that you're dealing with in your market space? You need to have a unique selling proposition. And there are 3 things that you need to have in your unique selling proposition. The first is, the unique selling proposition has to be true. You actually have to deliver on what you promise, because if you promise something that you can't deliver on, then that is not good. So you have to make sure that whatever you say in your marketing is actually true, that you can deliver on it. The second is, it needs to separate you from your competitors. It needs to be a feature that you have that's better than theirs, or that's something that you do that they don't. Because if everyone's unique selling proposition is the same, then it's not unique anymore, and a customer can't make a buying decision when everyone's the same. You really have to stand out as being different. And the third one is, it has to be valued by the customer. So an example of this, Seth Godin is famous for when he has a book about the purple cow. So having purple milk is different. It's unique. No other company sells purple milk. But purple as a color for milk is not valuable. Nobody wants milk because it's purple. People want milk because of the taste, because of the percentage of fat, because of the carton it comes in, because of the price. But purple doesn't come into the buying decision. So you have to make sure that your unique selling proposition is actually what your customers value. And one way to do this is actually ask your customers, why did you choose me as a coach? You know, what other people did you look at, and why did you pick me specifically, and why do you stay with me? And whatever they're answering is the same information that you should be marketing to your new customers. And you can even say things like, people typically work with me because they get a high customer service experience. They get great marketing advice. They get accountability. So you have to understand what makes you different, and then you have to market that to your customers. If you're not marketing yourself and separating yourself, then you're not going to get business on the internet, because on the internet, people can click off your site and do a Google search and find 50 other people that do what you do. And so it's important that when they're looking at you and your competitors, that they understand different. And so now we're going to show you a site that does this fairly well. And what they've done in their market space, there's a lot of new competitors locally that are opening up and that they're trying to compete with. And they were struggling with their website to compete with them. So we created this marketing message. You know, over 17,500 successful claims in 25 years. Quality investigation doesn't cost, it pays. So that message is something that none of their competitors can say, because none of them have been around for 25 years and none of them have done 17,500 claims. And it focuses the prospect on the fact that we're credible because we've been around in business for a long time and we've done a lot of investigations, which implies that we have a high quality service. And then you can see they have different services for corporate investigations, for insurance claims, and for personal investigations. So they're then bucketing their customers and identifying, these are the customers that we work with. So that is a way that you can have a stronger marketing strategy on your site. The next topic we're going to discuss is informative copy. Now, these are just two, jokes, basically, cartoons or as examples. So if your website has, simple quotes and that's it, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance, that's too little content. I can't make a buying decision on whether I should work with you based on a quote that you show. But also, looking at the right side, writing, a novel or many novels, it's too much content for someone to digest. So when they look and they see that much content, they typically just, their eyes glaze over and they don't read anything. So we're going to show you some samples of content. So I don't want you to focus on actually reading the content, just looking at the layouts. So you'll notice that there's good headlines, small paragraphs, bullet points and pictures to break up the paragraphs, and the content is actually pretty long. But it's broken up in a way in bite-sized chunks that's easy to digest, and some people that don't like reading, they'll just read the headlines, and then they'll focus in on things that they need to discuss. We're going to show you a couple other pages of content just to show you that you can have different ways to lay out your content. So here's another one. This is the doctor's financial planner. So if you're a new practitioner and you click, there's paragraphs, good headlines, there's graphics or images to break up the content so that it doesn't seem like it's a lot to read or to digest at once. And here's another example that's just going to load. Same thing, good headlines and very short paragraphs. It's important that the content doesn't overwhelm the prospect, but it actually still answers all the questions that someone might have about that specific product or service. This other one that's just going to load, it's the investigation firm. You can see same thing, paragraphs, headlines, paragraphs, bullet points, and then contact information. We're actually going to give you a formula now for how should you write good content. So writing good content needs to focus on every sales page or service or solutions page needs to focus on 5 things. The first one is who it's for. So you need to identify with the people. Make them feel like you understand who they are. Then you have to explain why they need that service or solution. The third thing is, what are the feature or benefits of that solution? You should focus really on the benefits. What are they going to gain from it? And the more loftier or higher level the benefits, the better. And then the fourth and fifth one are bolded because most websites don't do them so well. The fourth one is, why should they choose you for this specific service? So you explain the service, one-on-one coaching, but now you have to also sell you as the coach. So you convince them that they need one-on-one coaching, but you also have to convince them that they need you and not some other coach. So it's important that you have or you explain why you. And then finally, what is the next step? If they're actually interested in that service or that solution, what should they do now? And you can even title this, the next step or, getting started. And explain, we offer a free consultation, fill in this form, or call this number. It's important that you have headlines that are visible and clear on top of every paragraph. And it's also important that you have graphics to support the content so that it chunks the content, makes it easier to digest. You'll notice that even a lot of ebooks do this really well, but even physical books you buy now, most business books have a lot more shorter paragraphs and they don't write as long-winded as they used to. And the reason is because people's attention span has shrunken. And our attention span is hard to capture, and when you do capture it, you have to make sure that you're giving them exactly what they want as fast as they want it. Otherwise, they're not going to read your content, and they're going to move on. So now we're going to move to the next section, which is building trust and credibility. This is step 5. We show this picture, as a joke as well. Like, you don't go to a bar and meet a guy like this, and then end up here the next day. He comes up to you holding a beer and he puts out his hand and smiles and says, "Will you marry me?" The answer is going to be no. And so to go from a bar to, marriage, there's a process. First he has to maybe speak to you, get to know you, find things in common, build an attraction. Then you start dating, then you get into a long-term relationship, and then he proposes, you get engaged, and you get married. The problem is your customers are the same. You can't marry your customers right when they come to your website. They don't know who you are, and there's no trust or credibility in you, and right away you're asking them to buy something or do something. And it's important that before you do that, you try and build trust and credibility. In fact, in every single sale, they say that there's 2 reasons why people buy from you, typically. The first one is they like you, and the second one is they trust you. They trust that you're actually going to provide them with what they want. Price is not really the option. A lot of people say that price is how they decide things, but if they like you and they trust you, they will pay more for your service than someone who they don't like or don't trust just because they're cheaper. And especially with coaching, you are your service, and the relationship you have with your customers is very important. So building trust and credibility is critical in your business, and you need to do it on your website. If you're not doing it on your website, then you're losing prospects before they even convert to a customer. So there are different things that create trust on a website. The more of these that you have on your site, the better. So the first one is having about us, images of who you are, because if they're working with you, they want to know who you are. And it's important that you have images, or you talk about who you are and your story. It's good to have associations that you're a member of. It builds trust, because being a member of an association is not something everyone is part of, and it means that you get special information. Having your contact information visible builds a lot of trust. Websites that they can't find the contact information, people don't trust those websites. Showing samples of your work. So it's important that you show, maybe case studies or things that you've done, speaking events. You could show video clips, or you could have testimonials, which is some of the other ones over here. The credentials you have, if you have credentials worth mentioning, if you've taken courses or accreditations, you should show them. How long you've been in business will build trust and credibility. If you have a guarantee or a warranty, that builds a lot of trust. If there's a free trial, you're letting people try it out, so they don't need to trust you so much to try it for free or taking a demo. Testimonials builds trust. Good content on your website can build trust. Charity work does build trust as well, and any awards that you've received or have won will help build trust.
I just want to echo something there on trust that Max was saying. With regards to contact, being reachable through your website, one thing that I would also suggest is make sure not to use a Gmail or AOL or Hotmail address on your website, because it still gives that feeling if somebody lands on there, they wonder to themselves, why isn't there a your name at yourSiteName.com. Having that really builds a lot more credibility, so that would be something that you could do. If you have a .gmail as a contact, I would suggest changing that right away.
Yeah, buying a domain name, most of you have it if you already have a site, but even if you don't have a site, it costs $10 to $20 a year, and it gives you a lot more trust. Even things like business cards, having cheap business cards lowers trust, where having a thicker business card or a more professional card will build trust in people. We're going to talk about trust on steroids. So trust on steroids, I call it the Oprah factor, and what that means is if you were an author or if you wrote a book and you wanted to be a New York Times bestseller, the best way to do that is to get on Oprah's show and have her recommend your book. Oprah has enough followers and enough clout in the marketplace that basically anything she recommends, millions of people will buy or flock to looking at it. And so there's other ways to gain trust, and that is to associate yourself with other things that have trust. So who you are, I've never heard of this book, but I know who Oprah is, and because I trust her, then I trust you. And so you have to think about, what is it in your business? Who is your Oprah factor? Because the more trust you have, the better. So an example of that would be, Tony Robbins. If you've spoken at an event that he spoke at, and you publish that on your site, that I'm a speaker and I've been at this event and spoke alongside Tony Robbins, some people may not know who you are, but they know who Tony Robbins is, and now they trust you more, because in their head they're thinking, anyone who speaks at a place he speaks, because I know he's good, I'm going to assume that you're good as well. And so it's finding ways to associate your trust with people or organizations or events that already have that trust. And if you can do that, you'll find that you will gain trust much faster, and when people trust you, you'll have higher conversions.
And one of the things that we talked about yesterday was, for example, if you have a community chamber of commerce or some community involvement you as well as if there's businesses in the community that are recognized, so say maybe a bank or a Rogers or whatever it might be. You want to offer them to do a lunch and learn, to give a half an hour session and ask them for a testimonial, and this is something you can put on your site. I've worked with Rogers. I've worked with the Chamber of Commerce as well. You can be putting your logo design training. You can put that on your site as well. These are all things that, especially combined with the testimonials, can really help create that trust and show the value that you ship.
Okay, so now we're just going to look at how you can build trust or integrate it into your website. So here's just a sample site, and we're just going to identify the elements that build trust. So on the left, they have a testimonial, they have a free offer, they have a stamp with a guarantee that was just graphically created because it visually attracts the eye. They have the associations that they're a member of, and then they also have their contact information at the top. They also have it at the bottom. They have good quality content that's laid out well, and then they have a third-party testimonial review website that they link to. So all of these things build trust in their service. Now we're going to look at the final topic, which is persuading action. And this is really the most important step because, as any good salesperson knows, if you go in and you do a sales presentation and they're nodding their heads and they like everything you say, but at the end you don't ask for the sale, the answer is almost always no. You have to actually put yourself out there and ask people to do something. Otherwise, they don't know what to do, or people are lazy and they just don't know what they're supposed to do, so they don't do anything. So the goal of your site is to persuade people to take action. Now, what those actions are may vary, and we're going to show you this site again with the different actions. There are two different types of actions. The ones in blue is, I'm not ready to convert yet as a customer. I want more information. So here are our other solutions you might be interested in. Here are testimonials that you can read. Or here are links to other products that you might be interested in that are related to this solution. So you're not yet ready to buy. Here's other pages on our site that you can go to make that decision. If you are ready to buy, we have the contact information. We have the free inspection, which is basically the same as calling, but it's a different graphic in a different place. And then we also have at the bottom, take the next step, and we have the contact information. So there's 3 places on the website where we're trying to get the conversion, so that if they scroll down and the number's gone, they now see the number at the bottom. And it's important to have multiple places on your site where people are able to convert. Now, with your conversions, you have to think about, what are your desired conversions? You know, do you want them to watch a video, which is obviously a lower level conversion? If they download something for free, it's also not a high level conversion, but now you have their contact information. If they sign up for your newsletter, now you can start marketing to them, and that's a good conversion. But the ultimate conversion for most of you is selling something. So it's either selling a product or booking a consultation for your service, which indicates that they're a qualified lead for you. And it's important that you identify your conversions and then you figure out where you need to lay them out on your site so that all the conversions are addressed. Now we're just going to talk about how to create persuasion. The best conversions, there's a formula for it. Now you don't need to have all of these elements for a conversion, but the more of them that you have, the more likely you are to get a conversion. So the first is a clear understanding of what they get when they convert. So if it's a buying the book, they know that they're going to get the book. But if it's downloading a free white paper, what are they actually getting? What's in the white paper? Ideally, the best conversions have an expiry date, so they don't last forever, because that persuades people to take action today, right? So our webinar is being run today. If you aren't able to attend, then you missed it. And so when there's an expiry date, people take action much faster. If there's a discount or special offer with the expiry date, that's even better. So save 20% if you order within the next week. That's when most people get their sales online, is when they offer special offers with expiry dates and discounts. And then the fourth thing is, how do you take action? So click here to buy now, or you have to tell them what that step is. Call this number. You have to explain to them, because not everyone knows, what am I supposed to do to actually convert? So you need to make that clear and obvious. And the conversion button or whatever it is should stand out from the design, from the rest of the information, so that it's noticeable.
I just want to pipe in for a second. I think, and I guess in the context of of coaching and taking action, we realize as coaches with our clients that if they don't take action, they won't get anywhere. And it's the same thing on a site. When we ask the client to take action, we ask them to make a commitment that is time-bound and measurable. We know if it's time-bound and measurable, we can see results. It's the same thing on your website, that the message and the action should be measurable. This is the process we'd like you to take. This is the action we'd like you to take. If it's not clear, if it's up in the air, it's the same thing. It just won't get done. It's only when it's really a logical process, and when we ask you to take action now, invest in yourself, move to the next level, whatever the wording is that needs to bring the viewer to action, we want to make sure that you ask for that and courageous task for that.
So now your homework for persuading action is, do I have my contact information on every page? Or whatever the conversion point is that visible on every page? Can this be viewed in multiple places so that depending on where they are looking or scrolling, do they still have the ability to convert? And then are my calls to action clear and obvious? My personal belief, because some websites have conversions that actually move down the website as you're scrolling, I personally find those annoying and a bit obtrusive and too much in your face. So I typically prefer to have it at the top, somewhere in the middle, and then at the bottom, which means that it's always there for the client or prospect who's ready to convert. So just to summarize, those are the 6 topics. The first one was having a distinct design, a design that stands out, makes your business look different, and separates you from your competitors. People judge the quality of your service based on your design. It's important that your design wows them, because then they're going to think that your service is also going to wow them. Making sure that your site is clean and simple so that they can navigate to where they're looking and find the information as fast as possible. Are things spaced out properly? Are the messages long-winded, or are they concise and to the point? We'll find that people assume that the cleaner your message is, the more clarity they'll have with what that message is. Do you understand your customers? So does the site properly identify your ideal customers and market specifically to them, or is it more focused on being a generalist? For informative content, do I have enough content on my site for a prospect to make the proper buying decision and become a customer? Am I addressing their needs with that content? And am I also organizing the content so that it flows logically in order of how it would be addressed in their heads? And does it have good headlines, great bullet points, and pictures with the content to space it out and make it easy to read? Do I build trust and credibility on my site? Do I have enough elements of trust? The larger the service, or the more difficult the service is, the more information and the more trust and credibility you need. The easier the service is to explain, the less trust and credibility you would need. So is there the right level of trust and credibility for me to sell the services and my company using our site? And then finally, do I have all of the elements that will persuade the right prospects to take action? And am I encouraging or persuading that action throughout the site in a methodical and strong way that's not annoying the customer, but is giving them the ability to actually make that buying decision? So now as next steps, that was a lot of information. It was a little over an hour for you to try and digest all of that, and it's important that you start putting those 6 things into practice before you actually move on to some of these other steps. But once you have your site working effectively, the next things that you should be looking at is, do I have a strategy for driving traffic to my site? And mainly search engines is the main way that people drive traffic to websites using the internet. So do I have a search engine strategy? And that topic could be a whole day-long seminar, but we don't have enough time to go into the information, but that becomes important once your site is working well. Also, social media, which is becoming another new way to build credibility and to drive traffic to websites. Do I have a proper social media strategy? Most businesses get involved in social media, and someone asked the question, how come those social media buttons weren't prominent. Most people that do social media don't do it effectively. And it's actually a waste of time, money, and resources if you're going to do it and not do it effectively. It can actually hurt your business to be involved in social media when you don't do it right. You can have a Facebook fan page and then people start posting rude or inappropriate comments on your page. It can really turn off potential new customers. So it's important that when you get involved in social media that you have a proper strategy. And it's possible that in the future we're going to be doing a presentation on these topics, and social media is most likely going to be one of them because it is becoming more important in the coaching world. But most people don't use it properly. Social media can be used for three things. One is it does help search engine rankings if it's used properly. The second is it's really good for building credibility and a following online. So if you want to become the guru in your industry or known as a credible resource, dispersing information, quality information through social media is a great way to do that and to interact with your customers. And then it's also the third thing is to get referral business. And you need to have a specific strategy to do that. So it's important with social media that you identify what is your objectives with it, and does the activity that you're doing actually help you meet those objectives. And then finally, are you tracking your results? Do you have a way, an analytics tool to understand how many people are visiting your site, what they're doing, and how you can make more improvements to the site or to all your marketing to get a better conversion rate or have a higher impact in the marketplace? And so all of these topics are important. It's just we didn't want to overwhelm you with too much information, and also in the interest of time, we weren't able to get to them today. I just want to address one question that I noticed about someone saying that, what about my site looking like a blog? So in the coaching world, it's okay for your site to look like a blog, but it depends on who your target market is. It's better that your site looks, if you're selling to corporations, that it looks like it services the corporate market, and typically a blog doesn't have that look. Also, if you're using a template with your blog, does the template design stand out as unique and different and attractive, or does it look the same as every other website out there? The one challenge with having a blog as a website is if your home page is the blog posts, what that means is people are coming to your site and the information they get on the home page is always different and changing. So usually it's better to have at least a banner or a marketing message at the top, and then to have your blog post below, so that your marketing message that you want to be consistent for everyone visiting the blog is front and center.
Just also to pipe in on that, I think it's also important when a lot of sites today are actually built on blog platforms, like for example a WordPress platform. You see the New York Times, for example, I believe that's on a WordPress platform. There's amazing templates out there, and people take the time to design templates for sites and blogs that are search engine optimized and properly engage the audience. So it's great to use that. But for example, if you have a static, if your information is static, you might use a WordPress platform because you like the template, but you're not going to have that ever changing on the front. And as well, it's important to realize that, you know, it used to be a time, I remember when Microsoft Word started coming out, it was after the blue screen. There used to be that blue screen where the Commodore, right? DOS, right? DOS, and you could type out on that blue screen, and then Word came out, and you could put circles and faces and play around with the words, and you could make these cute little flyers that you give out for your business, and we felt so professional. But then design changed, and all these platforms came out, and you could design at such a high level. Well, today you have these base templates that it's so easy to pop up a website that we couldn't do 10 years ago, but now the demand is higher for a higher quality of design. You see it in the world today. There's a great book out by Daniel Pink, A Whole New Mind, where he talks about how right-brainers will rule the world, how design has the biggest impact. If it can be outsourced, if it can be automated, if there's abundance, then it's hard to grab the audience attention unless you have the best design. And that's why today, for example, you can go to Walmart and buy a toilet brush by a designer, because people don't just want general, they want design, they want that clean professional edge. So it's that balance you can look at when you are creating a site. Even if it's a blog, make sure that you are standing out there, that you're creating that, just like you invested in your talent, you invest in your marketing as well to create that image that you're looking for.
Okay, so now we're going to look at a couple of websites live, and we're going to try and apply these 6 principles that we learned and see how practically they actually apply. I just want to start by saying that the people that submitted their website, it's nice of them to allow this to be a learning experience for everybody. We're critiquing them with the way I critique websites is based on, if I was in your business, this is what I would do. And I give this information not to offend anyone who built the website, but these are tips you can use to get a better return on your website, have it become more effective. So the first website that we are going to look at is Positive Way Wellness Coaching. So this does look like potentially a blog template, but most people wouldn't realize that. I can realize that probably more just because I'm in the industry. And I'll just explain what I think could be improved of this homepage. I like the background, how there's a texture and design to it. I think that helps the site stand out. The colors, the blue and orange, are great. My company colors are blue and orange, so we always like companies that also have blue and orange. But the marketing message, which I'm just going to highlight, this area here is too much content front and center. When was the last time you talked with someone about your health and received the personal attention you deserve? That's a great statement, but that should be in a banner with that message and an image. And then you can, once you've hooked people into the site and then they've read that message, then maybe they're willing to read this content. So the content should be pushed down, or it should be broken down into be smaller content, less content, and saved for the subpages. The other thing that I would recommend with this page is you can see that the Book Your Free ebook, it's really long. So it's get your free ebook now for a limited time, which is great because it says for a limited time. Find your best self through food, includes monthly newsletter. Then the sign up is actually not even visible on the page. So this whole information should be shrunken so that the conversion is above the fold, so that the conversion is higher. You don't need this much space to have your ebook sign up. Also, the other issue is the navigation. You can see gets a little jumbled together. So home, about, schedule an appointment, health and wellness coaching. So it's scrunched together because some of the information, I guess, health and wellness coaching is too long. So people don't know what's the actual pages I can click on. Like, is that one page? So when I mouse over it, I now see that it is. But it's not spaced out well, so it's difficult for me to see which ones I should click on to navigate. So trying to find a way to clean up this navigation, and one of the solutions might be to move the navigation to across the whole site so that it's longer and you can fit in more text. So those are some of the changes that I would recommend for the homepage. Now we're going to look at another website. This is Susan Brown's site for impact coaching. So I'll tell you, this site also, you can tell that it's a blog mainly because of the blog posts that are showing up. So whether that's good or bad depends on the audience that's coming to the site. If the main goal of the site is to read the blog posts, and some very prominent marketers like Seth Godin, their website is designed like a blog format, so you can be highly successful with a blog format, but it just depends. Are they coming to read the blog, or are they coming because of your services, coaching, leadership, life, and speaking? So if they're coming for your services, you may want to find a way to get your services to be more prominent and then push the blog posts either off the homepage or lower on the homepage. I like that you have a picture of yourself and it's cut out. The design and the colors are vibrant and look good. I think that you have a good marketing message here at the top, and that the social media is great, that you have the different ways people can interact with you. One recommendation I would make is here where you have your receive the latest news and updates. I'm just going to use a highlighter so we can see. So this section, and then this section, and this section are all separated, but they're not distinguishable. They blend in from the content, so they look very similar here, and they blend in with each other. So it'd be better to separate them by either having a box around them or making them different colors, just so each one of them stands out and gets the attention that it deserves, so people can focus on that. Now we're going to look at another one. This is from Helena. It's just going to load in a second or two. Just going to wait for it to load before I start making my contents or my comments. This website, so she has her picture here. There's too much content on the homepage. Also, the homepage is all about her. When your homepage shouldn't be focused on you, it should be focused on your customers. Everyone wants to know what's in it for me. So why should I care? And after I know, after someone tells me why I should care about myself, then I want to know about you. So the focus of the site, and this looks like it's more just like a landing page, is all about her instead of her customers. Once she focuses on her customers, then we care who she is. The contact information is great, it's front and center, but also the design is not so professional. It doesn't look like a graphic designer built it. It looks like either it was done on her own or it wasn't done by a professional. And the assumption about your business is that then you don't provide a professional service. Showing who your clients are is great, though. You have big client names, which does build your credibility, but everything else about your site is lowering your credibility. So it would be important to have more of a stronger design and better credibility features other than just your client history. Now we're going to look at another one. This one is Monarch Leadership. So it's loading. The colors are consistent and vibrant. The purple in the background matches the purple in the logo, and then the green is a good balanced color with it. What I would say is the green is there, but then she doesn't use, or this company doesn't use the green anywhere else in the site. So the green would be the perfect color to use for your calls to action. So to book a free consultation or whatever the calls to action, they should be highlighted in this green color, which contrasts well with the purple. There's a great image here about showing that, helping female leaders regain balance, maximize their time, and ask for what they want. So that's a great marketing statement. And then she gets into these questions, or whoever this company is, and the questions are great. The content, though, the website looks like it's old just because the width of the website is really short. It's a skinny website, which means that it was probably designed when people were using smaller computers. Now people have bigger monitors, and it would be better to space out the information, make the site bigger so you could get more information above the fold, and also find a way to make sure the text is not so close together, maybe space out these questions so that it doesn't jumble together and make your eyes glaze over. And maybe highlighting on the right side some of these, come join us for a free a call where you'll discover 5 keys to a transformative 2013. That's a great statement, but maybe that should be in a green box or surrounded it in some other color so it draws your attention while you're reading this content. Your eyes get attracted to it. And it's important that you use these techniques to attract people's eyes away from, away to the conversions, because that's what's really important. We're going to look at one more. So this one is Life and Success Adventures. So this looks like it's more as a life coach than a business coach. I think that the comment about this site would be the contact information is not visible at the top. So it would be better, instead of having professional life coaching here, to have this message somewhere below the headline and maybe your contact information. This image, I think, doesn't necessarily represent what you're trying to achieve. It's a nice nature shot, but it doesn't have any value proposition there. You may want to move this marketing message, are you in transition or experiencing some life transformation, up at the top, but you would probably want to show a picture of a person because you're talking about are you transforming your life, and you're showing pictures of birds. You should show pictures of people, and that will help. Using the orange as your standout color, which I was just talking about on the other site, you have your first, second, third, that helps break out this content. The spacing of the content is really nice, and it's laid out well. The question is, can you get a customer or identify your customers faster on the homepage so they don't have to read all of the content? It's possible that you want them to read the content first. I also think the site would be better if you put the navigation maybe across the side, but some of the navigation is long, so it might be better down the left side. And we're just going to look at one of the sub-pages on this site. So is coaching for you? So that's a great question. You might want to highlight that. We're just going to go back to the home page and see, you should have a way for people to click on that when they're somewhere below this page on the bottom of the site. But so is coaching for you? They click on it, and then you have these questions. There's great headlines and good paragraphs, so I don't have time to read the paragraphs. But then you get to the bottom, and you can see there's no call to action. There's no conversion here. So you either go to the home or a coaching quiz, but what if they're ready to, oh, coaching is for me, now what do I do? So now you should lead them into either what we offer or contact us. So it's important that you have the conversions on these subpages. It would also be nice if you had some images. You talk about a roadmap and a GPS. That would be great to show as an image there. So it's important that you use images with the page to just break up the text a little more. So that's all we had time for today with the site review. But what we will offer everyone is for attending this, or even if you just watched the video and you weren't actually at the live seminar, we want to make this offer that we're willing to take a look at your site. We'll analyze it. We'll actually give you more specific information than we had time for here, and we can get into more practical details of ways that you can improve your site. If you're interested in that, you can send me an email, and there's my email address. You can also visit our website, which is the back half of the email address, orangemarketing.ca, and you can check out our portfolio or get in contact with me with any questions that you have. Rob's just going to finish up. Were there any questions that we wanted to answer right away? So if you have questions about this webinar, please send me an email. I'd be happy to answer them. You'll also be getting the recording and the slide notes, so the slide notes will help you do the homework, and it's important that you actually take action and do the homework, making some of these changes on your website so that you get a better result.
Thank you very much, Max. Max, I just want to ask you for a favor. Can you pop up a site for me so the audience can see it? I want to show them one example of a pretty lousy site that's in the middle of being under construction. The site is happywife.com. Max is just gonna bring that up for you so you can see it, because I want to share with you the power of action. This site, as you can see, you'll have to stop the recording, Max, just because I think it plays automatically. But this site, as you can see, is archaic. It hasn't been, I think it's probably about 5 to 7 years old. And it's in the middle of being in construction, but the first thing when I looked at this site, I said, let's not waste the space that we have here while it's being developed. It was about a month to two to get it developed to the level that this coach, Arya Pomensky, wants to take it to. So I suggested, why don't we just put this video in your site, just plop it up. We'll just plop it right in the middle with a call to action. And in 2 months, he had 500 people download his free ebook, and he got a couple of, he speaks around the world, so he got a couple of people that called them up and said, we'd like you to come speak in our community. So it shows you the power of not just having video and not having the right content, but those calls to action that are very powerful. And it's something really that you need to ask yourself now is, what's the next step for yourself, right? Information is great. As we know, again, as coaches, insight, awareness, commitment, choice, action, right? Awareness is great, but without making commitment and making choices about things and taking that action, we can't take ourselves to the next level. We can't take our websites to the next level. Today, the majority of people do searches online. Max, I heard Max speak in another seminar, and he made a cute quip how he was at an apartment building and they were delivering a skid of yellow pages. And he thought it was so cute that they were taking a piece of the internet and printing it on paper. I can't remember the last time I had a phone book in my house. Everybody looks online. Everybody is looking local, searching terms, and they're searching quickly. So you want to make sure that your message is being grabbed by your audience, that you're connecting, you're engaging them, and you're calling to action. So I really encourage you to do the homework. Figure out some action steps. What are the steps that you can do in the next 24 hours to take your business and your site to the next level, and as well to seize that opportunity for a free assessment with Max. As we log out, again, I want to thank everybody for coming and participating, and I hope you found value. We're looking forward to doing more of these for you. You'll see at the end of the webinar, as you close your screen, there'll be a survey if you can fill that out quickly. And when you're answering the question of what other seminars, not just about web design, but any area in business that I can bring you value and education, please share that with me so we can add that value. So I just want to thank everybody again for coming out, and we look forward to sharing more ideas with you soon and helping you take your business to the next level. Bye-bye.